The American Southwest, a geologic treasure that has been left frozen in time. Many have traveled here to experience the serenity of its beauty and escape the hustle and bustle of the modern world. In a land that seems so desolate today, lies thousands of cultural artifacts that reveal the liveliness of these canyons. Between 400 BCE to 1350 CE, these canyons were home to thousands of ancestral pueblos. Let's begin our journey learning about the culture of the Ancestral Pueblo. According to Crow Canyon Archaeological Center, the Ancestral Pueblo are ancestors to 32 native communities active today in the Four Corners region of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. These communities view ancestral sites as sacred and ask visitors to be respectful and kind. Visitors are asked to leave the sites untouched and to leave all artifacts in place. In fact, under a federal law known as the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, it is illegal to remove artifacts or damage a site. Today, the ancestors of the Ancestral Pueblo still pray and hold sacred festivities at these sites. Michael Balter is a researcher for the website Scientific American, and in a recent article he revealed that mitochondrial DNA from a female relative linked the remains of an elite family found ceremonially buried in Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, at this site known as Pueblo Bonito. This evidence suggests that the Ancestral Pueblo were a matrilineal society. The migration beliefs of the Ancestral Pueblo is not congruent with theories such as the Bering Strait hypothesis. This theory, according to the Smithsonian, suggests that Native Americans migrated from Russia on a land bridge to Alaska about 13,000 years ago. Although this theory is generally accepted by the scientific community, it is highly offensive to discredit the cultural migration beliefs of Native peoples. Frank Waters was an American writer in the early 1900s who worked closely and lived with members of the Hopi. The Hopi recognized themselves as descendants of the Ancestral Pueblo. According to Frank Waters' writings, the Ancestral Pueblo belief is that they emerged from within the Grand Canyon of Arizona. Now that you have a very brief understanding of the Ancestral Pueblo culture and beliefs, let's discuss and take a look at some of their art forms. The art of the Ancestral Pueblos is unique and takes on several different forms, such as baskets, pottery, and textiles, as well as rock art. According to the archaeologist Winston Hurst, the chronology of Ancestral Pueblo art ranges over the course of 5 phases. The first 2 phases are known as Basket Maker II and Basket Maker III, that range from 400 BCE to 750 CE. Colorful and intricately woven baskets were a common and useful art form during this period. The Pueblo I era lasted from 750 CE to 900 CE. Archaeologists have uncovered that during this time period there was an increase in frequency of whiteware and redware pottery. The last 2 eras, recognized as Pueblo II and Pueblo III, lasted from 900 CE to 1350 CE. The pottery during these 2 phases are recognizable by corrugated gray and elaborate black-on-white designs. Another practical form of art are textiles. Textiles like this turkey feather blanket, a macaw feather sash that shows evidence of a trade network that expanded from the Four Corners region all the way to Mexico. A woman's apron and jewelry. A pair of sandals woven from yucca. A warrior's toolkit. Rock art is another form of expression that can tell significant stories. A written Ancestral Pueblo language is yet to be discovered, so rock art can tell anthropologists a lot about their culture. There are two forms of rock art, petroglyphs and pictographs. Petroglyphs are made by using a tool to etch into the rock's surface. According to the anthropologist Steve Hayden, clans of ancestral pueblos would mark their homes with their very own symbols. This petroglyph could be a snake clan symbol. A pictograph is made by using a colored pigment to paint onto a rock surface. This pictograph could possibly depict a supernova that occurred in 1054 CE according to Chaco Canyon National Monument. The handprint left beside it could be a signature of the painter that saw it. As you can see, petroglyphs and pictographs are no doodles, they are a documentation of the past. Next, let's discuss some architectural styles that the Ancestral Pueblo used to build their homes and villages. According to Mesa Verde National Park, the architecture of the Ancestral Pueblo during the Basket Maker II and Basket Maker III phases was primarily pit house construction. During the Pueblo I phase, pit houses began to deepen and became fully subterranean. This is a Pueblo I phase style of pit house that is being protected at Mesa Verde National Park. According to Chaco Canyon National Monument, during the Pueblo II phase, architecture expanded by using stone tools and masonry to build grand community housing units like this site. Archaeologists at Mesa Verde National Park also conclude that during this time, the subterranean pit house evolved into a spiritual room known as a kiva. Archaeologists have also suggested that with the rise of agriculture, population rose, and there was a necessity to protect food storage from neighboring tribes. This growing necessity ushered in the Pueblo III phase of architecture, which is categorized by the archaeologist Winston Hurst as cliff dwellings with high kiva to room ratios and large watchtowers. To conclude, the Ancestral Pueblo left a rich historical legacy behind for not only their ancestors alive today, but for all of us to respect, appreciate, and learn from. The culture, art, and architecture of the Ancestral Pueblos is one of the most profound features of the American Southwest. And in the words of the Native American novelist N. Scott Momaday, to encounter the sacred is to be alive at the deepest center of human existence. Sacred places are the truest definitions of the earth. They stand for the earth immediately and forever. They are its flags and shields. If you would know the earth for what it really is, learn it through its sacred places. At Devil's Tower, or Canyon de Chelly, or the Cahokia Mounds, you touch the pulse of the living planet. You feel its breath upon you. You become one with a spirit that pervades geologic time and space.